So it is September of 2020 and we're standing on the Prado Dam. This is an earthfill structure that was constructed finishing in 1941, and it was put on the Santa Ana River at a pinch point between Chino Hills and the Santa Ana Mountains to protect Orange County from floods. There had been some huge floods where Santa Ana River and San Gabriel River basically came together and flooded the entire plain out toward the ocean, all the way from Yorba Linda to Santa Ana and Newport Beach, Huntington Beach. The class would normally come to Prado to explore the forest that you're looking at. This is the largest forested wetland remaining in coastal Southern California today. Nearly 5,000 acres of trees out there, most of them willows, but a mix of cottonwoods and sycamores and 3 or 4 different species of willow tree. The significance of the basin really is not just flood control, but it's also water conservation. That's where the Orange County Water District comes in, partnering with the Corps of Engineers to store water when it's safe in the aftermath of big rain events. The water is held back here and then released at a rate that can be captured downstream into the groundwater basin for the people of Orange County. Over 3.5 million people rely, up to 80% of their water supply comes from local supplies on the Santa Ana River. Forest exploration is really fun, but that's a huge area. That's 12,000 acres. We come out here and walk around. We barely scratched the surface in terms of how big that is. It's very, very easy to get lost, although there's major roads. Highway 71 follows the foothills, the base of the Chino Hills, and the 91 comes through where the Chino Hills and the Santa Ana Mountains meet. So you can hear the road noise almost anywhere in the basin, although when you get down in the trees, you're kind of hard pressed. And there's also a couple of shooting ranges out here, one of the few places left in Southern California that's open enough for that kind of activity to occur. We came down from the dam and now we're in the bottom of the Prado Basin, the south part of the basin. Down in here there used to be a town of Prado before they put the dam in, and one of the things that people always do is bring in their favorite plants, and so we're virtually in a small part of the forest that's dominated by non-native eucalyptus trees. You know, formerly, because they're non-native, there was nothing here that ate them, and there wasn't a whole lot of wildlife value associated with eucalyptus. But today, a number of pests have been introduced, and some on purpose and some accidentally, from Australia. Lerpsilids and other insects that eat eucalyptus are now here, and there's fungus that are attacking eucalyptus groves and killing trees. And so all of a sudden there's a lot more wildlife associated with eucalyptus. There's a lot of insect eating birds that will now live in eucalyptus forests that never used to. This is a very thin veneer of the native forest that gets up. You know, we've got probably 5,000 acres of native trees and a couple hundred acres of eucalyptus forest. But if you close your eyes and imagine and then open them real quickly, this So we're here at the Prado field office on the north side of the Prado Basin at about elevation 528 feet, which means during a potential maximum flood, we would be 38 feet underwater here, looking from this native fish pond out to the Prado wetlands. In the distance, you see the pinch point between the Chino Hills and the Santa Ana River, where the Prado Dam was built. You're looking now over the wetland ponds at the Prado Forest. The Orange County Water District owns 2,150 acres in the Prado Basin for watershed protection and water management. The ponds you see in the foreground are natural treatment wetlands that comprise 450 acres of our land. Half the flow of the Santa Ana River is sent through those ponds, and nitrates and other pollutants get removed in the ponds by the action of the sun, bacteria, and plant life. And welcome to the Prado field office. We have a number of specimens here, a number of aerial photographs of different parts of the Prado Basin. What you're looking at there is the wetlands. The wetland cells are all numbered, so we know when there's maintenance to be done, where the work needs to occur. And then from here we've got a couple of cases with specimens. There's waterfowl here, pintail, absolutely gorgeous, ruddy duck next to it, cinnamon teal on the left there, back up to a female northern shoveler, and then goldeneye and whatnot. Up on top, you see a male and a female bufflehead, and then a green-winged teal next to them. And down sitting on the case is our little Santa Ana sucker, the only listed species of fish that's in the Santa Ana River with any kind of regularity. We have steelhead that come in at the mouth occasionally, but they don't really thrive anymore. Too many dams and channelization and whatnot. And then over here, a female black bear, bobcat, and coyote. And there's a fierce puppy running around that's liable to get right in the middle of things. We've had that coyote for a number of years now. I can't tell you how many hundreds of little hands and fingers have been on and in that pelt learning about our wildlife at our annual water festival. Here a number of other specimens and bird nests. This is the wood duck that we spoke about in an earlier video that nests in tree cavities. I think the record height is 250 feet above the ground, and those hatchlings come out and plummet to the ground unscathed the day after hatching, usually within 2 days. And then the barn owl, one of the nocturnal birds of prey that we manage for out here with nest boxes. Here's the little western screech owl, the gray guy here that mimics the bark of a tree, very, very camouflaged. And short-eared owl, long-eared owl as well, the one on the right there. And then one of the cooler displays here is an antique that was donated to the Water District for use educating children. The big guy there is a tundra swan, the largest of our native waterfowl, but this is really an eclectic mix, all the way from blue grosbeak, American robin, western bluebird, phainopepla, yellow-headed blackbird losing its yellow head. There's a belted kingfisher there. Very cool. And then on the wall here are common butterflies and moths, although it looks to be mostly butterflies of the Prado Basin. This is a modified Australian crow trap. Most of our traps, be it for lobster or fish, work on the funnel principle. This, like a lobster trap, is a funnel trap. So there's an opening, a slit in the top, that birds can land here. They look down in, they see other cowbirds in there, they see food and water, and they fly through the slit and they join their fellows in eating. When they try to escape, they can't find this again, the funnel trap principle. They wind up flying up to the high spot, and this is isolated in the center. They don't find the slot to escape. It's the same thing with fish traps and, well, I guess dog traps too. Although if you leave the door open, it's easier to capture a puppy. So what you're looking at is a holding pen for brown-headed cowbirds. We trap hundreds of these things out of habitat during the year in order to allow the native birds to nest without cowbird interference. Cowbirds, of course, were introduced from the eastern United States and became common in California only in the 1950s. And the problem with cowbirds is they are nest parasites. They lay their eggs in the nests of other birds. A female can lay up to 90 eggs a season. And because they've come on the scene so recently, our native birds don't know how to deal with them. They're slowly learning, but in the meantime, we take them out of the habitat to keep them from interfering with the reproductive activities of the natives. I mean, they virtually nearly caused the extinction of the vireo on the Santa Ana River. So this is one of our native plant gardens, and this one was put up expressly by students as well as our own labor force for hummingbirds and butterflies. That first plant you're looking at there is the native milkweed, narrow-leaved milkweed, Asclepias fascicularis, and then down from there in bloom right now, tubular red flowers, is pretty little California fuchsia. We just had a couple of hummingbirds come in and tussle over a late drink on the California fuchsia. Oh, there's Douglas mugwort in the background of that, and there's some bear grass out there, but here closer to us again is woolly blue curls, another one of those plants in the mint family that produces a lot of nectar and very desired by native birds as well as insects. There's a little riparian primrose in the background with flowers that are beginning to wilt and die off right in front of a big old gigantic annual sunflower.